from here. Aura, we started from the Aura components yesterday. We just said like Aura component is part of the Lightning component. What was the other part for the Lightning component? Do you guys remember or? They like all the explanation, they looks like each other, but there are some small differences. If you guys remember, I draw something at the end of the class yesterday. For the Lightning components, I said we can just count two of them. One of them is Aura component. The other one is LWC. So basically, both of them are the Lightning components. We are gonna start to learn Aura component first, then we are gonna learn the Lightning Web component. So which one is the new technology? This one. But still, this Aura component is also new technology according to, if you compare with the, what was it? Visualforce. And Visualforce has two things inside. One of them is Visualforce components. One of them is Visualforce page. Some people, they already use this one, then they learn this one, and then they updated themselves with the LWC. Since this is the new technology, like most of the companies, even if they use the Aura components or Visualforce previously, they are just trying to convert it to the LWC. So at least we should know these two, like instead of starting from here. And in that way, even if they are converting something from the Aura component to LWC, we can have an idea about the Aura component. And believe me, this one is easier than this one. This is just my opinion. But you will see, you will compare yourself. And like why we are using this Lightning components, like the record page or home page, app page, these kind of Lightning pages, we are creating some components by writing the code instead of using the like flows we did previously, but we can do it by writing the code. And for the Lightning components or the Aura components, I should say, there was some bundle. And do you guys remember what was inside that bundle?
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that JavaScript, like GS. Like
Yeah, for the GS, like where do we use the GS file?
it's what was it? Most important for I need to see.
Okay.
It was controller.
It was controller.
Okay, we have controller.
A helper.
Okay, what else?
Renderer.
That's also correct. What else do you guys remember?
Yes, we have.
So since it is the Aura component, it is starting with the component, which has CMP extension. And then we have controller, like, if you guys remember, we were using the controller for the Apex code also. Sometimes we were writing down some controller. And in here, this is different, like JS controller or JavaScript controller. We are using this one for the Aura component. But what did we say? These 4 out of 8, most of the time we are gonna use these component, controller, helper, and style. We are using the component for the UI side, for the like visualize it. And we are using the controller to handle the events. And then we are using the helper class to put the like main logic. We are using the style to give the beauty for our component. When I say beauty, I mean like the background color, making it bold, or you can change the color of the letters, that kind of stuff. Basically, you are like giving a good look for that component. These 4 are important, and the other 4 still they are inside the component bundle. But most of the time you will not need to use them. But when somebody asks you any question about the Aura components, this is the main stuff you need to cover. After you cover all these they can ask you like detailed questions, but even if I explain that stuff, like some of the methods, some of the tags you are gonna use, it's not gonna make too much sense until you see it or until you apply it with Sanjay. All right, so we talk about this. We passed this one, not the real one. So can we use the Lightning components for the mobile and desktop? Yes, we can use for both of them. And then we just talk about the Visualforce here. So since the Lightning component is new something, but still it can work with the old technology, which is Visualforce. And lastly, we talk about this. This one was like MVC model or framework. So M is for model. We can just think about one of the object we have. It could be account or contact, whatever. So it has SQL inside. And for the V, we are using View, which is describing us the UI side. And it contains the HTML. And controller, we are putting the logic inside, and it is a JavaScript file. So when we compare the Lightning components, if it is matching with the MVC framework or MVC model, not really, because Lightning component, this framework is based on the components. It doesn't apply exactly for the MVC model. Does it make sense? Not really.
So we don't use this MVC framework.
So, like, no, MVC framework is something different, and the question is asking like if MVC framework is applicable for the Lightning components. Not really, because Lightning components includes lots of components inside instead of like MVC framework.
Is it like it has like controller helper style in all these? And with the different so uses different components. So this doesn't apply to Lightning component. Is that, am I understanding it right?
I'm just trying to find another way to explain this.
I was thinking that Lightning, we don't use Lightning because Lightning has lots of components itself, so we don't really put it in, I guess. But
Asla, I can barely hear you.
okay. So I was just wondering, do we use it somewhere, like in Lightning? Yet we don't not really use that because it has its own components. But do we use it somewhere, or we just used to use it?
No, we are not using MVC model, as far as I know. And I'm just checking online if I can find something.
There were some developer exam in the about MVC, I think.
Just a second. Because the thing is, like, nobody can say it is something totally different, but the only thing, it doesn't match with the MVC model exactly. But I'm just trying to find any like diagram or something. In that way, I can explain maybe a little bit detail. But most of them, they are just explaining the Lightning Web component. They are comparing with the MVC model.
I found something.
Please share.
Sure.
I can find some stuff, but they are all written instead of that. I'm
So
looking for something.
I hope you can see. So I try to, double check LWC framework and versus MVC framework. The difference is
Not the LWC Aura component or Lightning component.
Aura versus Visual Force.
Not that one.
Aura. Versus MVC framework. Let's search this. Aura LWC web components follow MVCC model view controller. That's what they mentioned. The database, S-object fields, API classes, view Lightning component controller, client-side JavaScript, client-side operations. Basically they mention between two, there is a two controller different than the MVC. MVC has just only one controller, but Aura component has two controllers.
I think I found something, but it is not
Sure.
a diagram. I just didn't want to share, but I couldn't find anything else. So let me share the screen. So the basic question, what we are trying to answer is this. Is the Lightning components? Because when we say Lightning components, it is including the Aura and NWC together, right? Is it built on the like MVC pattern or like the framework? So the answer is no. There are some similar things, but like it is not exactly matching with the Lightning component. Why? Because Lightning component has, these are like controller model, they say. The other one, it is just the one controller we have here. Model, view, and controller. Why is the controller doubled up in the pattern name? Because when interacting with the Salesforce, your component will have a server-side controller in addition to client-side controller. We are gonna come to that on the next questions. One of the controller here they are mentioning is like this one, this one, and the other controller is the class, which is Apex class, but you are creating a controller class. It is just for the Apex. This controller for Aura component. I don't know, like, did it make a little bit difference or it is still confusing? Because if I can find something as a diagram, it's gonna be easy to explain it. Otherwise, like in the traditional MVC model or the framework, the model is programmatic abstraction, usually as a class, between the underlying data storage and the rest of the application. So all these are like flu for us. It doesn't make too much sense because we cannot imagine, because we don't have that much experience. I think somebody shared, yeah, we can see.
It's because when you were explaining the client side and server side, and I was trying to find something. So, and
Yeah.
that was kind
I
of.
found, yeah, but is this the same thing we are talking? No.
No, okay. I thought, yeah, I was trying to type in the
Yeah,
Google and see the like
yeah,
why it's
I
not
tried to
fixed.
find something, but I couldn't. And then, like, so basically, is it matching with the MVC pattern or MVC framework exactly with the like Lightning components? No, because there are some similar stuff. That's why we don't want to say like we are not using, but also there are some difference, like basic difference. You can just say like one of the controller is for the Aura. There's another controller which is coming from the Apex. That's why there are two controllers for the Lightning components. But for the MVC, there is only one controller. In the Lightning components, there are no Apex class that directly stands in between Aura-enabled controller methods and the DML operations. But S objects are already an abstraction between the Apex code and underlying the storage layer. You can add calculation fields, validation logic, and even add full programmatic behavior in the form of the triggers. But for me, it is still hard to understand from here. I need to see something, but I couldn't find it. I can just search. If I can find something else later on, I can share that one. But for now, what you need to know is this is like not exactly same with the MVC model. We are talking about the Lightning components. Any other concern about this?
I'm good.
I know I couldn't explain very well, but believe me, it is really hard for me also to explain it. All right, I'm gonna continue, and if I can find any kind of diagram, because for the MVC model, I found some stuff. If I just check MVC framework. Oops. This is the MVC model. But this is not exactly applying to the Lightning components. Okay, I'm gonna pass that one. Which Lightning component parts are server side and which ones are client side?
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Mevlüt.
Yeah.
We got a couple pictures through the Aslı. Could you possibly
Okay.
compare these two pictures for us before you pass the next
let
question?
me-
Yeah, I thought maybe it's the correct
It looks
pictures.
like that's
I
the
don't know.
yeah.
It's hard to find in one image to compare, but maybe two pictures we can compare. I don't know.
Okay, I think I stopped sharing.
You can continue sharing. I just shared it on WhatsApp.
Okay. So MVC model view controller. This is still the same thing. Core data service and networking service, data model and response. What about the other one?
There's another image.
This is the client side view and controller, and this is the server side. Yes. So this one, you can just think about this is the, how can I say, Lightning component. And the other one, this one here, it is for the, like the traditional MVC model. Because in here, what you have on the client side and the server side, you have two different controllers. So that's why this one is for the Lightning component. In between, you have Salesforce also. And like earlier, I was mentioning there is another controller which is for the Apex. It is on the server side. And there is another controller which is JavaScript. This is for the Aura component. You can just think about that way. Because while we are counting the bundle, we were starting with the component, then controller. Component was extension as a CMP, and controller has a JavaScript. So in here, what we are talking, it is asking like which parts are the server side, which parts are the like client side. So the client side is the JavaScript controller, and server side is the Apex controller. When you check this one, I'm just trying to show both of them together, but okay. So server side is Apex controller right here. And for the client side, it is JavaScript controller. So there are two interfaces for the Lightning component. But in here, you have just one controller because you have like model, then you have view, then you have controller. Controller is going through the core data service and networking service, and then they are sending and getting the response about the data. This is the traditional way. Instead of this flow, Lightning components has this flow. That's why we cannot say like we can apply the MVC model to Lightning components. No. They have some similar things like the view, but like the controller, but they have a difference. Like it is facing to the different sides. One of them is the client side, one of them is the server side. For server side, you are using the Apex controller. For the client side, you are using the JavaScript, which is Aura controller. Does it make a little bit more sense? These are good diagrams. I'm just gonna like get a screenshot and I'm just gonna apply over here. Or maybe the previous, this one here, because at that time I couldn't find it. At least it is gonna give you an idea about the like how to differentiate between the Lightning components and the MVC framework. Yeah, thank you, Asa. I think this one works. And as soon as we say, Asla just started to send more and make them together. Yeah, this is correct. All right. Any doubt about it? No? I know it is still not like 100%, but these are the models they are following up while they are building the structure. And according to that structure, like they are deciding what they need to use. Like if they would like to go to like both sides for the client and server, then they need to use the Lightning components. So sometimes like you guys are asking like what the Salesforce architects do, right? What are their job? They need to know these flows, and accordingly they need to create the user cases and like check with the business side, and according to the requirement they can ask from the Salesforce developers what exactly they need to do. But to do that, they need to decide from the beginning, like what they need to do. Are they going to follow the like MVC model, or the Lightning component. And believe me, most of them, they are gonna continue with this one because this is the newest one. All right, so we said Visualforce has components and it has pages, right? And Lightning components are the new technology, but you can get a question to compare these two. So Visualforce components are the page centric and work with the server base. Lightning components are facing to the client side because they are trying to provide a component which is very nice and it is user friendly. And also it can be applicable for the mobile applications. And it is dynamic. That's why most of the time they prefer the Lightning components if you compare with the Visualforce component. When I say like Visualforce components are page centric, like think about one. Okay, let me just think about one of the like pages and think about like this, like when something you change here, okay, so you would like to change this one, whatever you do here, you need to update the whole page to apply this change here. So whenever you do that, this is gonna run like that. The whole page, it is gonna work all together. But for the components, if we just go to the I'm just gonna go to the home page again. So if you would like to change anything here, it is just related to this component only. So you don't need to update the whole page. If you need to change something here, you can just weave here. If you need to edit something, you can edit here, but it is not gonna affect the whole home page. Does it make sense?
Yes.
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 And like, for example, this one, right? Do I need to renew, like, or do I need to like say, every day I need to check this report and after then apply this report as a dashboard here? No, it is dynamic. Whenever I create this one, the maximum thing, what do I need to do? It is just refreshing it. That's why it is dynamic. And when you check as a user, just think about you are the user, which one is nice? Seeing everything like separately. We don't have that good graphics here because this dashboard needs to be updated. But is it this one or this one? Everything is under the one page. Yes, you have some stuff here. You can change the pages and everything, but like everything under the one page, you need to go like this way or this one. something separated. They think this looks better than the other one. For me, it is. It is dynamic. It is more like user-friendly, and also it is applicable for the mobile applications. These are the stuff, these are the plus side for the Lightning components. So Visualforce, it is, you are gonna see when we create, yesterday we created one of the Visualforce page, right? And we are gonna see something like this. We can understand from here, it is like a Visualforce. But if you are creating a Aura component or Lightning component, then you are gonna see here Aura. Actually, this is just an Aura component because for the LWC, it's not gonna be like this. But as soon as you see this one, you should be aware of that this is like the Aura component. And since yesterday, I was just showing like where do we need to go and how do we need to create the Aura components. Do you guys remember it? Can you guys guide me through?
New and then Lightning component.
Lightning component, okay. Just give a name
Okay.
and then, okay, account Aura. And
Select stuff.
can you see this one? It is talking about some bundle.
It's
And
optional, it says.
these are all optional, but when we picked here, we are gonna get some value on the top. Yesterday I was mentioning that. So if I click 5 of them, I am gonna get 5 different tags over there. But if I just choose only 3, then I am gonna get only 3 of them on the top. So
But
I'm
you
just
can-
gonna,
Later on, you can delete by like mouse, right? Here, you can. make it.
yes, you can delete. And for example, here, we implemented like a Aura component here, and then we implement one. This is the second one, and this is the third one. But if you select all of them, then you are gonna see 5 different implementation here. All right. So we said Visualforce is for the whole page. It is a single page application. And the other difference is it used the Salesforce memory. We are just talking about the like Visualforce. And this one here, Lightning component, these components are more flexible because you can even like drag and drop over the like Lightning app builder. They are more dynamic. They are also mobile friendly. You can just do it. You can use on the tablets or like the iPads or the mobile phone. And sometimes, for example, when you try to read any like the traditional web page on your phone, you are getting hard time, right? Because some of the stuff, like they are just moving, they are going up and down, side by side. It is not gonna fit on your phone screen. But if that application is for your mobile phone, then they are gonna design it according to your phone. And you are gonna be able to reach everything easily. That's why, like, one of the biggest things Salesforce was going to the top. It was mobile friendly. It doesn't matter if you create write the code. It can be fit on the web browser, or it can fit on your phone screen or iPad screen. And the other thing is, since Visualforce, it is just using the Salesforce memory, Lightning components are using the cache memory. That's why sometimes you are gonna get hard time if they are using cache memory. You need to refresh it, or you need to delete sometimes. Sometimes you need to sign out and sign back in. But the other one, it is using the Salesforce, its own memory. These are the difference between the Lightning components and the Visualforce component. Can you guys guide me through how to create a Visualforce component? This one was the Aura component. Right here. For example, let me give the same name. Account, this is not Aura, so Visualforce. And the extension is VFC. This is the component. And if I need a controller, I just need to click on this. And my controller is here. My helper. And this controller, is it client-faced or server-faced? Client-side or server-side? This one. Hello, hello.
It's server side, I think.
You
server
can just get help from the.
I believe it's because Apex, it's a server side controller.
But this one is not the Apex one.
Oh, okay. Then it's client side.
Client side.
Yeah.
And if it will be a Apex controller, then it is gonna be the server side.
Server side, yeah.
How do we understand if it is a Aura controller or the Apex controller? If it will be an Apex, we should see this extension, right? This is for the Apex. This is JavaScript. That's why
It was CMP, right?
which one?
Aura.
Aura one is component itself, it is CMP.
Mm-hmm.
But the controller, which is this one,
Okay. JavaScript.
controller is JavaScript.
Okay.
And if you check that diagram which you shared, over there, you are gonna see controller with the JavaScript. It is for the user client side.
Client, yeah.
How did you get that column on the right that shows
one here?
Yes, the bundle. Yeah.
Did you follow the same steps which I did? New.
I followed that. Well,
Lightning component.
Yes. And then did it pop up automatically?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, if, for example, if it is like this, you can just use this little arrow to
Okay.
bring it back, but sometimes it is right here.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I think it should be something not here. No, it doesn't come back. There was something I don't remember now. Searching files. Execute. Workspace.
In my case, it popped up by itself.
It's supposed to as a default, but since I just hide it, I cannot bring it back. I'm just trying to remember what was it. Library, no, not that one. Okay, anyway, I'm just gonna, in here also I cannot see now.
How about if you exit out and just try to go
I
and
don't,
open it, and then when you reopen it, maybe it'll come back.
I don't think it is gonna come back, but let me try. So it was account or now it came back, but I should remember what was this one because what do we call this thing and how to bring it back, because if I do this, it's not gonna come back again. Lightning resources. Nope. Page components. This is not the page component one. I need this one again. Okay, but I'm just gonna figure that out. What was this? Because I remember we were doing something here. In that way, it was coming back without like exiting and opening it back. So these are the difference between Visualforce and the Lightning components. When I share and when you guys see with the Sanjay, it's gonna make more sense, I know. Okay, then it is going like more specific. For example, can we create a one component like which is inheriting the style from the parent, or we need to always define it inside the Salesforce component? So we have a kind of relationship in between the components, like we do on the objects, which means like you can make one component to parent of the other component. If you do that, whatever the style your parent component has, then it is gonna apply to the child component. I think Aslı was asking one question about this, if I'm not mistaken. Aslı,
I don't remember.
you don't remember? You were asking me like, there was some interview questions about like the parent component and child component.
Oh, yes, yes, I
Yes,
remember.
that
Yeah.
is this one. So
Okay.
it is possible to establish a relationship between the components, Lightning components. You can make one component parent of the other component. If you do that, and if you apply any style, CSS, when I say style, I mean this one. Whatever you applied for your parent, it is gonna be applicable for your child component. That's why like Aura component, how can I say? It is a little bit complicated, but also it is so much useful. I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm just trying to like give the whole picture. Any question on this? No?
Not now, let's
Okay.
say.
All right. Why do we need to use this Aura method tag in the Lightning component? So we are just defining the component as a like Aura component instead of like the Visualforce. So we are mentioning that is the Aura component. And we need like, how can I describe this? It's also always asked to directly invoke the method in the components controller on the client side. So on the client side, what we were using, there was like two controller, right? We were using the Aura controller over the client side. How can I merge them together with the Aura method tag? I should say to describe or determine the Aura controller, we need to use this tag. And also, since we have some like relationship between the components while we are writing, it can help us to simplify the code in between the parent to child relationship. That's why we are using the Aura method tag. I know it doesn't make any sense right now, but we are just talking about this Aura in the beginning. Is it possible, can you get this question on the interview? Kind of, I can say. Because there are lots of good questions. I don't think they are gonna ask, but if they ask, this is so much detailed question. That's why I put like 3 stars over here.
So much detail, you mean it's like important or it's not necessary?
If like this is important something, but like I don't think most of the interview people are not gonna like go that much detail, because believe me, this is like more than 2-3 years experience stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
maybe for the beginners, they're not gonna dig
Yeah.
it as much.
because for example, when you go through the interview and if you say you have like 2 years, 3 years experience and you work on some Aura components, if you say directly you have 3 years Aura components experience, then they can ask. But if you are saying in total you have 3 years experience, but you just worked like last year for the Aura components, no, they are not going to ask you this. Is it possible to include a Lightning component into another one? Yes, it is possible. If you just think about the relationship, you can easily say that, like you can write through one component inside of the other component. So like since one component can include all this bundle and you are putting this one inside the other component, that's what I am trying to explain. Like that's why it is a little bit complicated. But since you are not going to use 8 of them, it can make it a little bit easier. And before we start the Aura components, Sanjay is going to review the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript stuff. He's just gonna mention what you need to use on the Lightning Web component and the Aura component. So it's not gonna be detailed like you guys did on the web development. But at least it is gonna make a recall. You guys are gonna remember, because I don't know, it was like 4 months ago or something like that. And I believe since then you guys are creating another website. So I know everybody already forgot it. And since I talk about the website, is everybody reached their own website right now?
Not me.
Not totally. Emily.
No, no.
No. There are 3 no's. Tunç?
It's completed and already uploaded to the GitHub.
Okay.
Just I
So-
need to create a link, then to mention on my resume.
And like, can you share the screen? At least we can see like what did you add over there? Because while we are starting the interview prep, I just mentioned that, and I was expecting you guys are gonna complete it. But it looks like we all forgot. Okay, can you just, yeah. Tunç, are you comfortable like this half of the screen, or I think you got used it, but okay. So you have put some like skills, hobbies, and headings, and you put your bachelor over there. I just want to, I think you can do it. I just want you to check like the skills, whatever you put over there. Because while we were talking about this, you just maybe mentioned the Apex, but you can add some triggers, batch classes, feature methods, that kind of stuff I want you to add over there.
Okay, so I'm gonna update
Yeah, you need to update it because you just put the Apex, Java, SQL, SQL. You need to add over there SOSL, HTML, VS, JavaScript, CSS, IntelliJ, and Office 360, Notepad++. You put the VS Code, okay. I just want you to add over there like the other stuff after the Apex, what we did, like the triggers, test classes, batch classes, feature method, batchable, queuable, schedulable, Apex, or you can just basically say asynchronize Apex. So just make it like wider.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And once you create the website, I want you guys to try to keep it up to date.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So
Did you put your Trailhead scores as well, Tunç?
No, not really. I didn't mention the Trailhead on my resume.
Okay. I don't know if we should, but I just asked. Just remember.
in the resume, no need to mention, but if they ask, like you should remember, like, what is your rank over there? How much point you have? That kind of stuff should be enough for
Okay.
interview purposes. But
Is there any
since-
expectation?
since this is a website, you can just take some pictures and insert it over there. Maybe you
Okay.
can make looks nicer. But for the interview purpose, if they ask, you can say, or like when you explain yourself, you can just mention like 1-2 sentence about that. On the Trailhead, I am a like 2-star ranger. I have like 230,000 points, something like that. I have like this much trails, kind of. But is it necessary something? No. But at least it is gonna give them an idea, like you don't spend your time for something else. Instead of that, you are just trying to improve yourself. Because Trailhead is the only resource you have if you are not working as a Salesforce developer. Two, three. All right. So I'm just gonna touch up 1 or 2 more slides, then we can stop for today. Like while you are applying for the Lightning components, is there any limit for like any application while you are implementing the Lightning components? No, there are no limits. So as much as you want, you can apply the components for a specific application. And since I need to delete these, right? So can you guide me through like how can I delete these Aura components? I didn't show you guys, I was just joking. So I just need to come back here. Do you guys remember how do we delete the Apex classes or triggers? We were just typing here, right? We can come through the triggers or the classes, then we can delete from there. Same thing for here, the Aura components or Lightning components. I just created this one. And I'm just gonna delete it from here. What about the Visualforce, which I created? What did I create? It was the component. So this is the one I created yesterday also. Let me delete this one. This one. So now it is clean. Okay.
These are getting complicated in each
Yes.
slide.
It is getting complicated. So if you guys want, we can just continue tomorrow. But until now, at least I think before you start the Aura components, it depends like how long does it gonna take today's lesson, because we have one more use case about the schedulable Apex. Yesterday it took like the whole class for one example. If we can complete, maybe we can start today, but I'm not sure, we will see. So before you start the Aura component, at least you have an idea like where to go and how to create. The only thing I want you guys to like, with the limited knowledge, you can just like dig into it. You can just ask some questions before like Sanjay is going through further. And he's gonna show the like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript stuff first. Then he's gonna continue with the Aura components. In that way, you are gonna recall the previous knowledge. After then, when he starts the Aura components, you can ask some questions and you can, I'm not sure if he used the like Visualforce before, but he has more experience than me. I'm sure he has some knowledge about that more than me. So he can explain better. When you compare the like Visualforce and the Lightning components. This stuff, if you just have the like general knowledge, it will be enough for the interview purposes. And on the interview, they're not gonna ask you to write down any Aura component. Because they can ask you to write down if they want to, like, if they want you to share the screen and write some code, they can ask some question from the like Apex classes. They can ask you to write down a test class because it is like a single page, or they can give you the like Apex class and they can ask you to write down a test class for that class. Or they can ask you to write down a trigger. But if they ask you to create a Aura component, then you need to create like at least 3. It can go up to 4. I don't think they are gonna ask you to create like 8. So there is no way, there is no time for it. That's why if they ask you questions about the Aura components, it's gonna be like knowledge, just the theoretical knowledge. But is there too much details? Yes. So like when you guys create the Aura components with Sanjay, then you should ask like, what is this? What is this? What is this? Why do we implement this? Is there any difference between this one and this one? We are gonna cover these are, like what are they mean and why do we use these are, but you should ask more questions. since it is gonna getting complicated, so you need to ask each and every detail. Do you guys have any question? Otherwise, I would like to wrap it up for the day. We can continue later on. Until now, I believe we covered like almost 13 or 12 questions, something like that. But for the Aura, we have more questions. But I believe today is Tuesday, right? I believe we are gonna be able to complete the Aura components this week. Is there any question?
I have a question, maybe.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you one more time. Are we gonna work on Visual Studio when Sanjay teach us reviews when we are gonna review the HTML, CSS, or
Yes, because also for the LWC, you are gonna use the Visual Studio Code.
I understand.
And if he try to do it like using another tool,
Yeah.
we can ask him to continue with the Visual Studio Code, because I think you guys also already forgot that one also.
I counted we are familiar to use Visual Studio. It's better
Yeah.
to work.
But like it is better if you have like knowledge about the more IDE, like you guys use the IntelliJ, for example, for the Java, right? It is gonna be fading. It is totally normal. The only thing you need to like keep using them, otherwise, like if you don't write down any test classes
Yes,
within 2 weeks, then they are gonna be gone.
they are flying, yes.
Any other concern, question?
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. See you in the Sanjay's class then. You guys have at least 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.